recording. I will let you begin, Marlon.
All right, hello everybody.
Hey,
Hi,
All right, do I
Marlon.
have to- Thank you for making the time. Share, do I have to launch this like a typical? Okay, so we're gonna run through a quick, let me change my Zoom setting here. So we're gonna do a quick attendance. I know we have Greg, we have Greg on here. We have in attendance, we have Jania, we have Teresa, and we have shared. So we do have a full, what do we call this again?
Quorum.
Special meeting.
Forum, exactly.
And we also have present our attorney Ben Gailey and reporter Alberto Gilman.
Okay. So
Hi,
yeah,
everyone.
thank you for taking the time. So here we're basically are gonna be going over a construction contract. Did everybody take a quick look? Did anybody have any questions? Share if you want to help me out here, if there's anything that
Sure.
I'm missing.
So I'll hand it over to Ben afterwards if he wants to add anything. So we know that we've had a violation for the sidewalks at 145 Broadway. In the past, we have attempted to have an RFP. We received one response. It was very costly. We reviewed the sidewalk again with Corporation Counsel, various code enforcement officers, and we were able to get more clarity on what was needed to resolve the violation. And it turns out the scope of work was not as large as we initially understood or thought it to be. And so we were able to attain another quote that was significantly less than the first one. And along with our counsel, we've been able to talk to the city's attorneys and figure out a way out of this. So I'll hand it over to Ben if you want to explain anything regarding the contract or our
Sure.
procurement policy or anything like that for the board to understand.
Yeah, sure. Sharon, do we know whether, so the board's aware that this quote we got is just for the front of the building and not for anything in the rear? Do we know whether the city is going to not enforce and we don't have to do that at all, or is that
So
up in?
the main concern is the ramp and the front entryway and everything that is literally like parallel out of the front entrance. Anything that is out to the sidewalk, around the corner, around the rear. I've already discussed that with Corporation Counsel, that it would be possible that this quote would not include that because we were trying to stay within our procurement guidelines to make this happen as efficiently and quickly as possible. So I explained to Corporation Counsel that this quote does not extend to the sidewalk, rather it only includes the front of the building. They were free to ask any questions if they had any misunderstandings. I haven't heard anything. So again, this pertains to the front of the building, the handrail, that ramp, and then the handicap access ramp, and then the main walkway into the building.
Okay. I will say that the quote we got is pretty vague in terms of, the scope of service and exactly what they're doing. But I think we're at a point here, especially since the subcontractor, I understand from Cher, has a relationship with one of the board members or the contractor who works for one of the board members. But we're at a point where we need to get this work done. So, I don't have an issue with the vagueness of the scope of service here. Under your procurement policy, you've tried numerous times to find contractors. We've done, Cher has reached out to many contractors. We've published RFPs twice. So the board, under your procurement policy, the board does have the authority to award this contract. In terms of the contract itself, that I sent over to Cher earlier today, I used a model one of the construction contracts that I've used in the past. Just There's no payment to the contractor until the work is done. There's a termination for cause provision in there if that's necessary. No changes to the contract price unless approved by the board. There's a 1-year warranty on labor and materials. And contractors responsible for securing and maintaining the property while the work is ongoing, including the contractor's own work. Contractor assumes all risks. Contractor indemnifies and will defend the IDA and its officers against any claims that might arise with respect to the work, and is required to provide insurance. The amounts is $1 million per occurrence and $2 million annual aggregate, which is standard. And this is not a major construction contract. Also automobile liability for $1 million, $2 million commercial liability umbrella. And then there's fairly standard provisions that I've added that deal with public benefit corporations, IDAs that the state requires to be included, and those are in here as well.
Thank you for that, Ben.
So if
Okay,
the board wants to proceed, it's really just a motion to award this bid to N Campos Construction and authorize president to sign the contract.
okay. All right, so then I make the motion to authorize the acceptance of the contract from Campos, and then authorizing Chair to sign the agreement.
Fine.
So I need somebody to,
I second.
Fabulous. And so I'll just do a roll call anyway, because this is regarding money. So Marlon Ramos,
yes.
Gregory Nato,
Yes.
Anya Pearson,
Abstain.
okay, so if you abstain, we won't have a quorum, just so you
Okay.
know.
Well, we didn't really have, there was no opportunity to even ask a question about this. So I'm a little like,
Okay,
we made a motion, there's no discussion, and
Okay,
I'm not trying to be difficult. I just had
No,
just
fair
a
enough.
couple of questions. I know we're under the gun, or I don't like to say that, we're not under the gun, but we have to, this has been very difficult. We need to move forward. So I just want to ask a couple of questions. The time that in the contract, there's no specific time for when they will begin and finish the work. Is that going to be a problem for us in terms of the fact that we need to get this work done?
The contract states that they must commence work within 5 days of execution.
Okay, I'm sorry, I missed that. Okay. good,
That's in
good.
paragraph 1. And then
Very good.
in paragraph 2, it says complete all work expeditiously, time being of the essence.
Mhm.
Okay,
would you like for it to be
I'm good.
extended
I'm good with
beyond
that.
5
I'm
days?
good with that because I'm just reading it now, so I missed it.
I know you just received it
Yeah.
a few minutes ago.
So then with that, if they're making a commitment to start the work, and there's also some, some clauses in there that if the work isn't satisfactory, I just have one concern, but I don't know. I think that work around concrete and stuff, they're only giving us a year warranty, but sometimes it takes a little bit, we should expect that kind of work would last way beyond a year. And so,
I have no problem changing that. What do you recommend? What do you suggest for that?
I think if something is looking still good, like 2 years down, then the work was done properly.
Yeah, part of,
Yeah. And my
think-
expertise is very limited. I'm not a construction, person,
No,
but I
no.
know you can, a year, a year, it may take a year for some foundation to be troubled by water that might be running under it, and then a year in, you're like, oh, wow, the materials weren't good enough to uphold that. But 2 years, you wouldn't have a problem.
Okay, I think that's a good idea.
And with that, I'm ready to vote. Yes.
I think we should start it all over again then, considering the changes that Yania mentioned then. Do we have a motion?
Wait, so are there any other questions before we vote again?
I actually, so I want to actually bring something up to think about. So if we are going to make changes, are we under the assumption that now the contractor is agreeing to the changes? Because they're not here right now. That's something to keep in mind. I don't know what the suggestion to that is. But for instance, the 2-year, I have no problem with that, but I don't know what the standard is in that industry. So, you know, me throwing a number or saying 2 years, it's I guess it's what benefits us, which I understand, but I don't know what the standard industry is. So that's something that
Neither do I.
I thought of. So, you know, although it does make sense, but for time purposes, maybe we could ask what is you know, if we're gonna do this that way, where we're looking for the best position for the IDA for protection purposes, I'm just gonna say, listen, why don't we ask around, although we don't get any answers when we ask around to see what the standard is on warranties for this stuff. But putting an arbitrary time, I don't know what that's gonna do to the contractor, just putting it out there.
Okay, so the board could approve the contract, but subject to, you know, the insertion of the warranty period, if you wanted to take some time in the next week or so to try to determine what the industry standard is for that.
I'm actually a little bit better with that wording.
Mhm.
In my experience, it's gonna, if the concrete's gonna fail, it's gonna fail the first year. So if it doesn't cure properly, it's gonna start flaking sooner than later. It's usually the first thaw, the first freeze of winter.
Mhm.
So a year is pretty much when problems are going to start to develop. But I'm just adding that from my experience.
So Gregory, in your mind, then, is a year long enough for a warranty, or just
Yes.
past? Okay.
Yes. And so it
I
gives
got
us time. It gives us time. Like if we get through the first winter and we don't have any problems with it, you're not going to have any problems after that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just to
sounds-
add, this is Teresa, just to add to that, I had concrete laid for my steps, and the inspector came out after the first winter to inspect it the second time to make sure that it was okay. So yes, I'm on the same page with the year is good for me
Mm-hmm.
because I just experienced it for myself.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody, for your insights.
Yeah, that's helpful to me. I'm satisfied with that. With the year then.
So then does that mean we could make a roll call again for the original proposal, or I'm sorry, for the original motion to give the contract to Gonzalez. What's the name of the company? I'll tell you.
And compost.
Compost. Yep, as Compost, and then have Share sign the contract. Do we stick with that original? The original.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is everybody comfortable with that and ready to make a roll call?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So
All right.
the
You're ready.
first motion still is you, Marlon.
Yes.
Just to reiterate that. The second is still you, Greg.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. And then we'll do a roll call. So again, Marlon Ramos,
Yes.
Gregory Nato,
Yes.
Teresa.
Yes,
Every time I want to say your name, I get mixed up with Yanni. It's Teresa Pearson. Yes, sorry.
Priester. Isn't
Yeah.
it Priester?
No,
Teresa
Priester.
Priest.
Sorry.
Priester.
The
Yeah.
EI. Sorry. I'm still getting used to you both. Sorry. Yania
That's-
Pearson.
Yes.
Yes, okay. And our 3 remaining board members, Michael Kelly, Adam Polk, and Christina Amato, are absent. So we can go ahead then and
Make
I
a
will-
motion to adjourn.
yes.
Okay. So I make a motion to adjourn.
A second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Have a good night.